These are the top 20 legendary open world games where you can get lost. 20th. Fallout 4 has so much potential that it's hard to turn a blind eye to it for long. It's one of the best open world games because there's so much to do. The surprisingly vibrant Boston, Massachusetts setting is jam-packed with quests. Embark on the Freedom Trail, solve mysteries alongside the legendary synthetic detective and sass master Nick Valentine. Join the railroad in their mission to free synths, investigate a haunted house, or simply plunder everything and everyone you see to amass a mountain of cap. This post-apocalyptic open-world game gets much more interesting when you may play any way you like. Just make sure the earth doesn't catch fire. 19. Marvel's Spider-Man, not long ago, Spider-Man 2, released in 2004, would sometimes be included at the bottom of lists pertaining to the top open-world games. There were a lot of issues and unfinished ideas in that game, but its web-slinging navigation system made you feel like a real superhero, so it deserves some credit. Fortunately, Marvel's Spider-Man takes players back to the excitement of web-slinging in an open environment, just like in Spider-Man 2, but it goes above and above in every other respect. In fact, the only thing more enjoyable than soaring over the game's magnificent open world is reliving the fantastic original Spider-Man story that the brilliant developers at Insomniac Games were granted the opportunity to tell. In terms of Spider-Man video games, it is without peer. 18. As with other open-world adventures, NieR Automata lets players explore various biomes, battle adversaries, and take on side tasks. On the other hand, you're in for some unexpected, contemplative plot twists as the game goes on. Furthermore, NieR Automata employs a complicated fighting system that is unusual outside of linear action games, which are better able to anticipate and handle the outcomes that such a system could produce. Things aren't always what they appear, and the story's numerous themes and secrets are unveiled with each New Game Plus run. You won't find a better example of a developer mastering the open-world genre than this one. The story is just as intricate and varied as the landscape itself. 17. Days Gone. In Days Gone, you'll face a swarm of hundreds of zombies who have banded together to slaughter you with their gnashing, undead fangs. It's a fantastic, horror-filled entry among the top open-world games. Even though it's a horrible name, the biker you play as, Deacon St. John, has a fascinating backstory. Despite its limitless bleakness, the world of Days Gone is captivating because of the human stories that counteract the horrors of the freakers or zombies. Days Gone isn't just about zombies and the end of the world, as one would expect from a well-designed open-world project that can hold its own against the top zombie games. There are rewards for exploring every nook and cranny. 16. No Man's Sky. Like an intergalactic explorer, you'll be strolling over arbitrarily created worlds in No Man's Sky, which has evolved into an enjoyable galactic exploration game. In addition to terraforming, it now has 30 hours of story content, updated lore, new ways to interact with NPCs, and portals that make jumping between worlds much easier. New features and improvements were included with the Beyond update to No Man's Sky, including the ability to eradicate aliens, a social system, and support for virtual reality. Subsequent upgrades have expanded the game's functionality, narrative, and opportunities for space exploration. If you like exploring strange alien planets in spacesuits and looking fantastic doing it, then you should definitely get into No Man's Sky, which is an open galaxy rather than an open world. 15. Ghost of Tsushima. Please don't make faces in disbelief. A samurai game with blood, violence, and swords is actually one of the top open-world games available right now. Despite all the swordplay, Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch manages to maintain an unexpectedly serene demeanor. While gazing at a serene lake, thinking over your father's death in a hot spring, wandering the woods with a fox to a secret shrine, or simply investigating the mysterious smoke in the sky, you can craft haikus. With its simple user interface, wind, and waypoints indicated by flying yellow birds, this open world game is one of the most engaging and authentic at this point. It helps, of course, that the plot and fighting are superb as well. An absolute must-see. 14. Sleeping Dogs. As much as I'd like to know the reason behind the dearth of excellent martial arts games, all I know is that Sleeping Dogs is always there to console me whenever I feel the need to vent my frustrations about the genre's underrepresentation. The player assumes the position of Wei Shen, an undercover police officer attempting to bring down the triads from within in this open-world game. As you rise through the ranks of the organization, you'll need to engage in savage criminal actions while maintaining your cover. As the boundaries between truth, justice, and loyalty grow even more porous, you will be torn between your allegiance to the badge and a criminal code of honor, and you will be willing to do everything to protect one or the other. The action in Sleeping Dog is so impressive that it stands out from other open-world games. The story is startlingly solid, so don't sleep on it, and it supports the violent gunfights and amazing fistfights. The finest Hong Kong action films, the game's inspirations, seem to have been lovingly incorporated into every facet of the production. Although it may not be the largest open-world game, this one has more heart than any other. 13th. Mafia 2. Even though I'll never stop loving the original Mafia, I don't think the open world was ever a good choice. By enhancing the driving mechanics of the first game and populating that open environment with more activities and personality, Mafia 2 quickly overcomes that issue. The outstanding campaign and great gangster flair, meanwhile, continue to be the biggest draws of the sequel. Mafia 2 is more than just another Grand Theft Auto ripoff because it captures this era of organized crime with cinematic flair and real narrative intrigue, elements that are absent in other games. Extremely exciting. Gameplay. Becoming a made man requires intense gunplay, nerve-wracking automobile chases, and brutal hand-to-hand combat. Inspired by classic mafia dramas, epic gangster story immerses players in the enchantment and impossibility of a life in the mafia with its captivating characters and cinematic presentation. Step into the era and universe of Empire Bay. Stunning realism characterizes the setting, which is Europe during the height of World War II, complete with vintage automobiles, music, and apparel. The emergence of a new, hip era is mirrored in the enduring popularity of hot rod vehicles, 1950s fashion, and iconic music from that time. 12th. Dying Light. Even with a sequel, I still wonder if Dying Light has ever truly received the praise it merits. Indeed, it's debatable if it's the finest open-world zombie game of all time. For all intents and purposes, it pretty much sums up Dying Light. It was the game that mixed parkour with open-world zombie slaughter. The care that went into Dying Light's narrative and other significant scripted moments, as well as its smaller aspects, such its tremendous armory of weapons and equipment, are not captured by that simplistic synopsis. The game's ability to integrate seemingly incompatible fundamental ideas such as parkour mobility, survival, and action is genuinely remarkable. 11th. Batman. Arkham Asylum showed fans what a dark and realistic Batman game might be like, but Arkham City took it to the next level. Arkham City expands the setting to a gorgeously rendered depiction of Gotham City, in contrast to the first game's filthy Arkham Asylum. In addition, the game's setting includes all the adversaries, weapons, and musical stings that players identify with the superhero. To the delight of those who have always pondered the possibility of Batman starring in his very own Escape from the New York adventure, this game fully utilizes that fantastic notion. Arkham City has a compelling plot, excellent voice acting, and a terrific combat system, making it one of the best superhero games of all time. No amount of effort, not even by Arkham Knight, could bring back the game's enchantment. 10. Assassin's Creed. Black Flag. Experience the age of piracy like never before. Train with the assassins to assume the role of Edward Kenway, a flamboyant yet ruthless pirate captain. Edward possesses a remarkable ability to seamlessly transition between several weapons, such as the Assassin's Order's Hidden Blade, 4 flintlock pistols, and 2 cutlass blades. Discover a world overflowing with opportunities. Explore the most expansive and varied Assassin's Creed universe ever made. Discover more than 75 distinct locales ranging from Nassau to Kingston, where you may experience life as a pirate. Even though it's the most consequential Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed 2 isn't the AC game that makes you want to sing sea shanties just thinking about it. Set somewhere between the series' rocky beginnings and its eventual shift toward a more role-playing game style, this game served as a reminder of the importance of a well-designed open environment. Even while I sometimes wish Black Flag had a bit more variation in its missions and combat, there aren't many open-world games that can match the excitement of sailing the high seas and discovering that being a pirate is really your life. 9. Far Cry 4. Kyrat is a country with a long history of conflict and tradition, tucked away in the majestic Himalayas. Your name is Ajay Gale. In the midst of a civil battle to topple the tyrannical government of dictator Pagan Min, you find yourself entangled in a journey to Kyrat to grant your mother's final desire. Discover and traverse this expansive open world, where peril and uncertainty await around every bend. Every action has consequences, and every second tells a tale. Explore the most varied Far Cry universe to date. Everywhere you look, from verdant woods to the majestic Himalayas, life is vibrant and dangerous. A wide variety of animals call Kyrat home, including ferocious honey badgers, black eagles, rhinoceroses, and leopards. Keep in mind that anything might be pursuing you as you seek for resources. Get a bird's-eye view of enemy territory in the brand new gyrocopter before crashing back to Earth in your wingsuit. Riding a 6-ton elephant allows you to unleash its full might on your adversaries. No matter how bizarre or unexpected the task at hand may be, pick the appropriate weapon. Arm yourself with a wide variety of weapons and you'll be ready for anything. 8. Cyberpunk 2077 Night City is unlike any other open-world game or role-playing game. The future metropolis of CD Projekt Red is always bustling with action. Whether you're shopping for the pre-mess clothing in Japantown, putting gonk heads together in the Badlands, or solving mysteries in Dogtown, the Warzone environs exclusive to Phantom Liberty. As V and his wisecracking headmate Johnny Silverhand face their imminent demise, they find themselves in a cybernetic race against the clock on a playground that is both famous and completely lawless. You will never be bored in this city that never sleeps and where some people never wake up, so fire up that Porsche, sit on that dilapidated apartment building, and take it all in. 7. Fallout. New Vegas. When it comes to the Fallout series, which revolutionized the concept of role-playing in video games, player freedom is most important, and Fallout provides greater autonomy than any previous edition. Even though players have access to guns, brains, and money to solve nearly any problem, navigating the game's morally ambiguous situations is never easy. While many of Fallout's generally well-designed organizations and individuals are either too nice or too villainous, New Vegas catches players off guard by making sure nothing is what it seems. The game's choices extend well beyond simple categories like A or B, or even color-coded moral compass systems. Game designers can work their magic in Fallout by making the world's residents as morally adaptable as the protagonist. 6th, GTA 4, easily the most spot-on Grand Theft Auto game ever developed. Taking a page out of Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto tale, this is essentially about surviving and constructing oneself from the ground up. Even though it would be widely hailed as a classic if it were released today, its current state ensures that it will remain an overlooked masterpiece for all time. If you're curious about the high expectations around Grand Theft Auto 6, you should know that GTA 5 was and is a smashing success. This is due to the fact that GTA 4 was the revolutionary game that established Rockstar as the leading video game developer of all time. Everyone from Nico Bellic to Johnny Klebitz to Luis Lopez shares a commonality. They all call America's worst city home. For the well-off, Liberty City is paradise, but for the less fortunate, it's hell on wheels. Nico hopes to leave his troubled past behind and start again in the land of opportunity. An escalating turf battle between competing gangs for dominion of the city ensnares Johnny, a seasoned member of the Lost Motorcycle Gang. Everyone has a price in this world, and Luis, who is part-time a thief and full-time Tony Prince's assistant, is trying to balance the opposing demands of his loved ones and his career as they struggle for survival in a city ravaged by corruption and brutality. Their paths intertwine with tragic outcomes. 5. Skyrim. One of the finest things about Skyrim, one of the greatest open-world games of all time, is that the world does not revolve around you. Also, when you're out and about during the day, you might come across a band of bandits fighting a monster or stumble into a neighboring settlement only to have a dragon pounce on it. The game is narrative-driven and eager for you to experience its pleasures. In fact, you would encounter 30% of its objectives in the wild, even if you avoided all large settlements. There is an abundance of content on the map, including strange sights to behold, creatures to be stabbed with sharp objects, NPCs to be robbed, eerie Dwemer ruins to investigate, and dragons to slay. There are still undiscovered bosses and tasks to be discovered, even after a casual 100 hours of playing. Those are novice numbers. You can't put a price on the influence Skyrim has had on players' lives. Yet, if you want to know how much of an impression it leaves and what Elder Scrolls 6 must live up to, you should dive headfirst into its world. 4. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Forgive the pun, but The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild breathed new life into the Zelda series. After hearing audience complaints about the series' increasingly handholdy nature, Nintendo created a game that prioritized player agency and discovery. Whenever and however the player pleases, they are free to travel anywhere they like. In addition to hidden riches and side objectives, the world serves as a physics playground where players are encouraged to discover innovative strategies to conquer opponents and overcome obstacles. Finding out what's hidden in the game's crevices is half the enjoyment. Surviving the journey there is the other half. I think everyone should play Breath of the Wild at least once. It's safe to say that every single one of my friends who I've recommended this game to over the years thinks it's fantastic. 3. Red Dead Redemption. For fans of high-octane westerns like High Noon, The Magnificent Seven, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Red Dead Redemption was the perfect Grand Theft Auto with horses experience. Completely different is Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a western in the vein of Heaven's Gate, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, and Unforgiven, much more analytical, critical, and character-driven. In addition to the game's more realistic controls and gameplay, the abrupt change in tone caused many players to abandon Red Dead forever. But I think the album's standing as a masterpiece has been further solidified with each passing year since its debut. With its breathtakingly gorgeous open world and emotionally complicated plot without simple people and clear answers, it reflects the nostalgia and terror of the Old West. Just existing in this wide environment feels thrilling, which is unusual for most games. Riding between quests that other open-world games would have made their crown jewels is where you'll find some of the game's finest moments. 2. The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. In addition to defining the role-playing game genre, The Witcher 3 takes players to one of the most detailed and convincing virtual worlds ever made. Adapted from the novels, CD Projekt Red successfully captured the grim, morally ambiguous, and profoundly human Witcher universe. The sheer magnitude of the game is immediately apparent. Open areas teeming with detail make up The Witcher 3's enormous realm. Whether you're in a tiny town or a major city, you'll never be alone because every corner is bustling with life. The side quests are often as startling as the main plot, if not more so. The missions aren't your average kill the monster affairs. Rather, they're packed with emotional turns, unforeseen detours, and decisions that can alter our worldview. Smaller storylines are just as interesting as the main plot, and that's what makes the game stand out. The bar was indeed lifted for role playing games and open world games by this win, to the point where it can be difficult to play other games without thinking about it. You can't erase the feelings it evoked from your heart or erase the memories of this game from your mind, so maybe it's unreasonable to expect subsequent games to come up to this one. First, Elden Ring. When I first stepped foot in Elden Ring, I assumed it was only a horse-themed Dark Souls. On the contrary, I was a part of epic fights set in gorgeous, open environments, where my partner would cry whenever we were invaded, and where gravity proved to be more deadly than any genuine enemy. Gameplay. The possibilities are endless in this superbly designed open-world adventure. Whether you're expertly avoiding difficult bosses, having your horse knocked off its saddle by an undetected minion, or spending hours customizing your character's face, like me, only to have it hidden under a hideous headpiece. Visuals. Elden Ring's universe is stunning, but brace yourself for the possibility that a gigantic bird could kick you into oblivion, or a catapult will destroy you if you linger to take in the scenery. The sound beautifully portrays the world's grandeur through a variety of melodies and motifs, from soaring love songs to rumbling conflict themes. The immersive quality of the lands between is enhanced with each swing, spell, and footstep. That is the most remarkable aspect of the Elden Ring. It manages to be both one of the most content-heavy open-world games of all time and one of the rare current titles that manages to capture the essence of what makes this genre unique.